to another Linux Gamecast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week, Kings of Kung Fu goes 3.0. It adds Easy Mode, or as I like to call it, Windows Gamer Mode. NVIDIA launches a new beta driver. We now have better G-Sync support, and AMD, yeah, that son, and Descent Underground needs your help to get on Greenlight while in the middle of a Kickstarter campaign? Question mark.
HTC and Valve are giving away VR hardware. Viva la Valve! Oddworld new and tasty mix with a patch. Doesn't fix controller support. And Google's acting a bit twitchy. Can the big GLT steal the top streaming spot?
And the Talos Principle is getting expanded, much like the theological text it was based on. Twitch.tv was hacked, and yet again, the users are the ones getting the shaft. The game that broke Double Fine's budget gets some closure, and I'm betting that Mr. Schaefer will be banking some more wet stinkies.
I've been Stone here at LGC Actual, all the way in Athens, joined up in the north by a blurry Canadian Superman. Oh, it's the light killer, and from Space Portugal, Pedro Matias, and together with Chat Realm Dynamic, we form a bit of a cocaine Voltron in the world. What have you been up to, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this week? J-Man?
Oh, I'm putting together the final shopping list to finally give my PC the 4K upgrade. Ben's monitor went on sale up in Canada. Still not as cheap as what he grabbed it for.
We want it.
What? Yeah. But what is in Canada? Pedro?
I sort of got to tune up the Amiga. It had a cheapo black case when I first got it back in November.
You made it join the clan, didn't you?
It's super racist.
Yes. And now it's got a flashy Zolman S3 Plus, which is white, which fits the monitors. It looks pretty, and it runs so much cooler now because the case itself comes with 4 coolers already in it. You can put another 2 in if you really need to, not counting the CPU heatsink, because that was the other purchase I made. It's a huge Nox Hummer H300. It's awesome.
Not much to report over here. Last night I had a bit of a panic because the Nexus 10 apparently wasn't charging, and I get done watching the Vikings, and it just nopes. I was like, whoa, that's not good, is it? Hit it. The only thing that shows up is just the battery just flashing every time you hit power. I was like, oh no, to the Googles! I was like, oh, maybe it didn't discharge. And I noticed this issue last week when it gets down to about 15%, it just nopes. And I was like, right, great, because no one really knows.
The CM Nightly?
No, I'm running stock rooted right now, 5.1. And it's like, shit, that's out of balance, because you never really know exactly what the charge is in a lithium-ion battery. It's just a bunch of maths. It's normally really close, so I did a full discharge. That's where you boot it up into recovery and let that screen sit until it completely nopes. Plugged it back in, let it sit for an on. It started back up. Everything's fine now. Very happy about that. But, what's the horse up to? Is it still full of juice?
No, the horse is drained, but it's given it away for free. It's our Steam X
Update.
Yes. So, looks like Valve is still a little sore with Oculus after they got bought out by Facebook. So, Valve, for qualified developers only, is giving away their Vive development hardware for free! Now, supposedly the Vive is going to cost a little bit more than the Oculus Rift, which normally retails for about $300 to $350 to about $400 for just the developer kit. But now Valve has said for qualified developers, and you're going to have to go through some application process, but once that's cleared, they will ship you a Vive VR dealie. Now, my theory about this is really just a ploy. They want to undercut Oculus and say, all developers, you're going to get this shit for free. Develop on it, make it the de facto standard, and fuck Oculus. So,
I don't know. When I see this, my first thought is yay, this guy's like, I get to wear on my head, it's glorious, for about 30 minutes, and you'll never use it again. I'm more excited about that demo. I think it was last week that from that company that the Goog Spot that showed off their augmented reality, and I was just, yes, that's what I want. P-Man.
Yeah, I saw your post on Google Plus about that one. That looks very interesting, but the Vive or the Vive or whatever you want to call it, at this point, with Valve offering it for free to developers, it puts the ball back on Facebook's court, since Facebook bought the Oculus. It's like, okay,
you just want to punch him in the throat, don't you?
You used the wrong analogy, though. It should be put the balls back on Facebook's chin. Anyways.
Sure. But yeah, the Steam brings in a stupid amount of money, and with the Vive being made to work specifically with Steam, if Facebook wants the Oculus to remain relevant with the gamer crowd, they're going to have to make sure that they're compatible with what Valve's doing. Otherwise, they're going to become irrelevant. The Oculus, at least.
Okay.
Oh, look, it's an expansion in 2015. And before I, steal something from Jordan's notes here, I'm just going to say that it's the Talos Principle, which is getting an expansion. They call it the, what's it called? The Road to Gehenna. Gehenna.
Gehenna. Yeah,
that. But again, not a native English speaker.
Jordan, are you playing a Christian game?
It's a fucking Hebrew word, so you have no excuse.
Not Hebrew, Latin. Yeah. But yeah, it will be available shortly. They didn't give out a specific date, but they say it will be available shortly, and it will be available at an even later date for the PS4. And get this, the Talos Principle and expansions will launch on the NVIDIA Shield platforms later this year. That's awesome.
Yeah, I really need to get around to finishing Talos Principle now with Pillars of Eternity out. That's my main time sink. But I'm actually genuinely curious what the price point for this this expansion pack is going to be, considering the expansion packs went the way of the dodo with the advent of DLC. So if you're going to charge people for this, is it just going to be more deal? Is it going to be the price of a full game, like with Brood War from StarCraft days, or is it going to be DLC priced? Who knows? That's definitely going to determine whether it's going to be successful or not.
That's true. But I'm kind of with you on that same boat with the Talos Principle. It was really hyped up to be this amazable, life-altering experience, and like it's kind of an average puzzle game.
It's not made by Peter Molyneux, though. So
didn't know what to say about that. But J-Man,
I'm trapped in the closet.
Oh no!
Anyways.
Five Guys.
With the Five Guys. Yeah, no, this is Trap Dead Lockdown. It is an action RPG set in a zombie apocalypse. And
it's the one immediately after that, then.
Yeah. Woof. Wait to screw up the links. Awesome. Okay, Trap Dead Lockdown. Yeah, so it's basically like Diablo Forced, whatever, right, but with zombies and apparently driving. There's a driving segment. And I don't know, looking at the trailer, I got some serious Dead Sky flashbacks. And apparently in the zombie apocalypse, there are no women, period. So that sucks.
I don't know, I genuinely remember, okay, come on, trailer, show me something. Oh, look, a driving seat.
There it is.
that honestly looks straight out of GTA 3, and that was
this scene right here in this car. I know this was, it must have been on Indie Database billions of years ago, and the future's past right now. This thing's released,
Probably.
20 quid. It's got a bit mixed. What do you need to run it? Just on Ubuntu. And I thought, all right, it's not $20. I'm just going to say this. What I remember from, I believe it was on Indie Database, correct me if I'm right, it was complete shit. So, P-Man, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I saw a bunch of people on YouTube actually trying this game out. One of them was Jim Sterling, yeah. And he was like, yeah, this looks a lot like Diablo, but much like him, just looking at the trailer and the screenshots and the Let's Plays, I'm having a hard time justifying paying 20 euros for this game.
Like, visually, it looks like a game from like 10 years ago, so...
Yeah.
Where is all that money going to? That's what I want to know. Do they have like some rampant cocaine habit that they need to fund, so they put out some half-baked game?
No, right.
No idea.
Well, speaking of half games, or 2.5D games, as the case may be, it's The Legend of Dungeon, which... yeah, that's the one. So, about a year and a half ago-ish, we covered a little game, and we actually did a review on it. It's called Legend of Dungeon. It's a 2.5D roguelike dungeon crawler thing. I liked it. Van and Jordan, not so much, but I very much liked it. And now they have released an expansion which adds classes to the characters. And in order to unlock those classes, you have to go into the dungeon, rescue the adventurer, as it were, and then bring them back to the tavern.
Totally stole that from
pets.
FTL.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And you get pets, and this is the kicker, you get VR.
What about this VR?
Oh,
moon
right,
technology?
because it's a freaking 2D game. What do you get? Diorama mode. That is actually what they
Yep.
described it as. I have no idea why you would want Oculus support in a game like this. That makes zero sense to me. Oh yeah, it's awesome 3D dioramas. Yes, I can get that from looking at a shoebox. And, well, I guess
But yeah,
I have to
this
pay for a
is
pair of shoes.
A year and a half
This is free.
after release, and they're still releasing content to the game, which for an indie studio, that says something. Most indie devs just treat their games as fire and forget type deals. But these guys, they're still on it, and if you like the game, I think now's the right time to give it a download and try it some more.
I mean, if you're into that
Yeah,
sort of thing, I was surprised when, they sent out the update via the emails, and I was like, what? My robot loves good. Oh, right. Oh, wasn't this the one where the pen was mightier than the sword or something like that?
Yes, it was, in fact, the one where if you had the pen, it did like 3 times the damage of the sword.
Oh, right. Now that we're back in line.
Yeah,
Volux!
Warlocks! Yeah, so, hipster pixel Golden Axe, except it looks worse than Golden Axe.
Yes. And it's not called Warlocks anymore. Now it's called Warlocks and Shadows.
Versus.
Versus
I
Shadows,
think
yeah.
that was a mistake. They should have kept it as Warlocks.
Yeah, me
But
too. Apparently they changed it.
But it's a beat 'em up with procedurally generated loot and item pickups.
Yep.
And it looks interesting enough. I mean, Golden Axe was fun. That kind of game is sort of fun. You don't really see too many beat 'em ups anymore, aside from what was that one with the theater?
Oh, right. Battle Block.
Not Battle Block.
The other one
was where you were like a gentleman and you had like the chimney
Yes.
sweep sidekick. We threw chairs at it.
I know which one you're
what I'm
talking about, but I cannot remember.
Yeah, and anyways, like you don't really see too many beat 'em ups.
Yeah,
these
$13.99.
days.
That seems a little.
Well,
it is
it's
an
not
early
terrible.
access.
I might pick it up if it goes on sale out of early access. If it gets out of early access, because we all know that some games like to just stay in there forever and ever and ever. But
yeah, they
Pedro,
changed
you
the
thought it
name because
reminded you of another
apparently
game.
Warlocks was too
New and tasty.
generic.
Patch 102. It's out, baby. This is going to fix all of our problems, right, P-Man?
Oh yes.
You'd think so.
Oh, okay. So apparently, according to the patch notes, they did a bunch of stuff for controller support. So I fired it up today just to see if the dialogue options were working. Nope, not at all. Apparently, they do support controller mapping now. I did not screw around with it, but the game still doesn't really map everything correctly on the Xbox controller.
No, they got a little thing. I mean, they do say that they really need to remove full controller support under the Linux version because it is busted. But here's one they said. I want to get this right. We hope this ability will go some way to alleviating some of the issues certain controllers not functioning the way we'd expect them to in game. Well, you're going to have to rewrite your damn controller thing, Brad, because you used Unity. And that default setting, no matter what you do to it, is never going to work right.
There's this awesome
selling.
little thing. It's called SDL2. You should use it.
I know.
Yeah. And it's possible to introduce SDL2 into Unity. The guys at Milkstone Studios already did it. So just
And
ask them.
Still just chugging this thing out at 19.99. And like we said, when we did a review for this, it never went through QA. It is so horribly fucking busted under Linux. Do not buy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that they're working on it because they've acknowledged that the game has problems and they're trying to fix it. But I'm really, really, really tired of this trend of just releasing a game and then fixing it with patches. This is what beta testing is for. You're not so desperate as to get it to market. Hell, this is what early access is for. If you really want to make money off it. Yeah. I don't know anymore. It's
all right. Well, let's move on.
F you,
like Kings of Kung FU. Update 3.Z. Woo, that's a brave number. This is not a point release. This edited some block proximity, and it fixed incorrect input commands and character moves list. 4 new characters, 2 stages, new music. All right, I didn't ever notice that, and a very easy difficulty, so even Windows users might stand a chance. What is this game? Never heard of it? I don't know. Let's go to... Where's your store page, Brad? Well, F you. This is supposed to be like your 70s Kung Fu exploitation, Enter the Dragon type business. And when I first heard about it, they sent us keys for it. And I was like, this is going to be horrible. This is going to be so bad. And
then you got...
It was.
Your ass handed to you.
It was. It was really... But it was so much better than what I was expecting. And it's still really bad. But check it out. Maybe it's a thing. I know you had some issues with some of the naming of the characters.
Oh yeah, no. So they added a couple new combatants. Was it Yun Wong, Ken Tsurugi, Lo Chi, and White Stallion? And that's racist.
I know, right?
Why has it got to be a White Stallion, man? That's just
why do you got to pay, baby? And that price
baby hands.
And speaking of money, the day that Nintendo files a copyright claim on a Steam game is drawing to a close.
I remember seeing this. Wow.
Really close. But yeah, this is Minimon. It is on early access. It will run you for $10 if you want to pay for it. I was looking at the trailer and the screenshots, and I'm like, okay, this is Pokemons, and all the Pokemons on the third screenshot there look very familiar.
Yeah, no, that's a Rhydon with wings, a skinny Dragonite, some mutated Sandslash,
Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur on the right side. You get them all.
It sort of looks more like Monster Hunter not Monster Hunter, Monster Rancher than Pokemon. But yeah, like it does look like it's its own game. But goddamn, they completely stole those monster designs from Nintendo. Jesus.
Yeah, either, it's a Pokemon ripoff on Steam, and that's either a recipe for success or, again, a copyright lawsuit waiting to happen.
I feel you on that. When I first saw that picture, I was like, somebody's getting sued.
Yep.
George Lucas gonna sue somebody.
Well, let's fall into this bit right here. Are you wondering, well, what's this doing in the Steam update section, Vin? Well, I'm going to tell you, other Vin. You see, they have a Kickstarter. This is Descent. You might remember it if you're old like me. And it's the perfectly 3D run around, shoot things in a cave. It was kind of fun back in the day, 20-something years ago. They got a Kickstarter. It's probably not going to make it. It's 302 wet stickies, and they need 600 total. And here's the issue, Brian. The latest update is like, hey, why don't you support us on Greenlight? Because
looks like they're hedging their bets.
Oh man, somebody there went, shit, this Kickstarter's not going to fucking make it. We better do this. And this is a bad idea, Brad. Let me tell you why this is a bad idea. You're splitting any chance of your Kickstarter ever coming to fruition, because I see that. Even if I was thinking about backing you on Kickstarter, I'm like, nope. The only reason you go on Greenlight is for early access. I'm just going to sit back and wait for that business. And that, guys and goyles, is why your Kickstarter will fail. Did any of you lot ever play this game billions of years ago in the future's past?
No, I remember being interested in it because I saw a trailer for it when I bought one of the other Interplay games, but I never really got around to playing it. Apparently, Retro Booster took quite a bit of inspiration from the Descent series, though.
And I played more than one Unity inspirational derived materials from this game. They weren't called Descent. They had similar synonyms for nouns, but this one is actually done on the...
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I guess
this one is actually done on the CryEngine.
It's going to be interesting to see how this works out. I mean, that's something they can't promise us a native port yet.
Apparently it's actually Unreal Engine.
Yeah, that's all right, even better. At least, fortunately, we might get a port out of that. But if you take anything away from this, is don't double dip. I mean, that's all your consumers and potential backers are thinking when they see, hey, we have some traction with this Kickstarter. Let's try to get more money over here, which I understand doing that. But it looks skeezy as fuck, Brad. It just does. Right. All right, take us out, baby.
Coming up next, NVIDIA releases a new driver, and we get hacked in real time with Visual Basic.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the LGC Patreon update of the week. And this week, we did get a new Patreon backer, but he was already a fan of the show, and he was kicking us $10 a month on the old PayPal buttons. But now, he is backing the show on Patreon for $2.50, and he is from down under, so we're going to have to flip the video upside down for just this little bit.
Space down under. Because remember,
it's Mr. Kloinka.
Yeah, man, yes. Good on that. And I really encourage, I mean, we still have a lot of people that are donating over the PayPals. Hey, if that's your bee's knees, man, that's great. Anything you can do to help us out. It's just a lot easier to track everyone because we want to know everything you're doing. Now, when I say track, like give out rewards and stuff like that, so we don't have this monstrous sheet that I've made that is not ordered whatsoever.
Oh,
like,
yeah. No,
well, maybe that person should.
Butchered up Google spreadsheet. I've seen that. It's not.
We're getting closer right here. Look at this. 63.32% internet train wreck. Oh, we asked 5 cents. Give us that. We will love you, but we're coming up on Trine again at 75. We might be adding the Matt Hartley bit. Before that, we still got to lock all that business down, man.
So keep an eye open on our Patreon page.
I know, value for value. I mean, that's going to be a fun
watch the video.
Special
Whenever
video.
I need a pick me up, I just watch our Patreon video.
Oh,
it's
something
genius
for our Patreons. If you don't hang around and watch our after show, which is basically just turned into a mothering game show, I have all those. I just got to make the time and edit them and get them uploaded because they're just as much work as doing the actual show. So they are there, and anybody who backs us at any level on that will get access to that noise. I mean, it's a completely different format than what we normally do, but we think you might like it. So do we have some news?
We're a lot more fucked up.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Yes, we do have some news, and in true LGC fashion, it starts with drivers.
Look at this. Linux x64, we got a new beta, 349.12, just came out. What is it? You never heard of it? Basically, this has two things that are kind of neat. We have VDPAU can now decode H.265. If you're wondering what does that mean, that sounds like moon technology, Ben. That's really going to help you decode 4K video because they have some, what is that other bullshit name they have for it? HVAC, I think they want to call it. And we do have G-Sync, better G-Sync support. When I read that, I went, we have G-Sync support? Oh,
yeah, no, they added it. They've modified it so that you can have G-Sync running and have a non-G-Sync monitor plugged in. You just get a bunch of screen tearing. So,
yep. But yeah, they also improved VDPAU H.264 lossless encoding, which, if that doesn't tell you anything, think Steam broadcasting and Steam in-home streaming. Yeah, those two, they rely on H.264 lossless, and they work. It really works.
So have you even this an install yet?
I have, and honestly, I haven't noticed anything because I don't really have any way to test it. With 4K video, yeah, you can download 4K video, but if it's true 4K, there's really nothing to play it right now, Brad.
Yeah,
I gave it a spin earlier today while I was testing Pillars of
Eternity. Did it fix anything for you? Did it break anything? No,
it's still working as fine. So I guess. Well, I don't have any of those fancy G-Sync monitors or any fancy schmancy video card like a 980 or a 97.3.5 or whatever.
So, cheese had something
cheese.
Yes, another news guy reportedly still blue, but this is Cheese Talks, and he was posting about the Humbles and all the money they've made. And he's got the Humble and Android Bundle 12, and you see the total payments Linux payments, 35,000. macOS payments, 29,000. Windows payments, yeah, 251,000. If you look at the graph, there's a hell of a lot more
We call it the Pac-Man
Windows
chart.
users. Yeah, there's a hell of a lot Windows users actually buying those bundles for 1 single cent because
Windows
come
bots.
on. And
So,
as usual,
apparently
the average
Linux
for
is
Linux
about
is still
1.8.
higher than everyone else. And if you look at the column to the side of that one I just mentioned, you have all the Android bundles combined. And there you see Linux payments is at 1.5 million, macOS payments are at 1.1, and Windows payments are 7.1. So Linux users on those bundles that include Linux are consistently paying more, and there are more people paying than on the Mac side. Now,
One
people start
interesting
point-
thing is if you look at the Pac-Man below that,
Yeah.
where Linux purchases are total Android bundles combined, Linux purchases have actually, in terms of sheer number, outdone Mac purchases now because they're
Well, I have I
versus-
really don't want to play Santa's advocate on this,
Huh?
but there's
Yeah.
lies, damn lies, fleshlights, and statistics. That's
Oh, yeah?
basically how things work. The main reason, let's just be honest with ourselves, is that we're paying more and we're still beating Mac is a lot of times, 90% of the times, this is the first time we see that port for Linux, and
Yep.
we still have that knee-jerk of like, bought, done, all right, whatever. Might not even play it, but hey, it's a game on Linux, let's get it. But you got to mix that in with gaming on a Mac being a fuck-mothering joke. I mean, seriously, what do they have? They have the trash can. Is
Yep.
$5,000 that no one fucking bought. And your other option would be your MacBook Air or whatever, and I really don't see anybody jumping to play their AAA titles on their integrated Intel video. So that could skew the results a bit sideways. Any thoughts extra on that?
I don't really have much else to say on the topic. I mean, you guys covered it fairly well. I will say probably, it honestly seems like it would just be a visibility issue that causes Linux to get less support than Mac, because we're seeing it right now. Linux users are paying more, they're buying more, but you go out in
see, it's
public,
the fanboys that'll point out.
you see people on Macs. You don't really see people on Linux PCs because they look like any other PC.
Yeah,
But,
but the fanboys out there and those people with, willing to be nitpicky, they will point out the very last column, graph sets, whatever you want to call them. And it says there that the Linux payments are still below Mac, and they're, not even compared to Windows. But that right there is the results of all Humble bundles combined, including the ones that did not have a single Linux game. That's where the discrepancy comes from.
Lies, damn
Right?
lies, and statistics, but don't twitch over it, P-Man.
Oh, yes.
Twitch. So I woke up.
Oh, no, this is
I woke up on Tuesday, yes, and I had an email from Twitch saying, "Oh, we have expired your password. We severed the connections between your Twitch account and YouTube and Twitter accounts." I'm like, "Why?" "Oh, we were kind of hacked."
Oh, I got a better
And-
story. I woke up and I always have the tablet like next to me, and I hear bling. Like when I open, I was like, "What's this business?" Jordan sent me a message early in the morning. Something's fucked up, and it's usually our shit somewhere. It's like, oh, this is bad news. What is this? Twitch? I thought it was going to be Twitch bans all anything unless you're actually playing a game with your junk hanging out of your chest organ. But no, this didn't get a lot of coverage in the press. I mean, everyone with all these other hacks and all this is like blowing up, and it's like Twitch got hacked. A lot of people are like, yeah, all right, let's go ahead and reset it.
Yeah, but Twitch got hacked, and it was a pretty serious hack. We're talking passwords, names, associated email accounts, salted credit card numbers that you may have provided Twitch with, and likely every single other website that you use that email for and that password, you're probably fucked.
So you probably
This
want to
is
change
serious.
those. Another thing I was thinking
Yeah.
of, is that easy to get into Twitch? No wonder people got swatted all the time. Wait, what's that knock on the door? But Google.
flashbang.
Ah,
Yeah, I know, but in light of this, well, maybe not in light of this, but Google has decided they want to step up and knock Twitch off their throne. So they basically want... YouTube has had a live streaming service for a while. We toyed around with it for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Eventually, nothing really came of it. Because ultimately, Twitch provided what we needed and YouTube did not. But they're going to try and go after the esports market. They are trying to get people to stream their live events via YouTube. Which you might think, oh, that's a good idea. Google has a lot of infrastructure. But now so does
Live
Twitch.
Content ID.
Amazon. Oh, yeah. Live Content ID. That'll be interesting. I wonder if they're going to mute Ven's voice because it's copyrighted.
True story, ladies and gentlemen. My own voice has been
Sorry,
muted.
what? I can't hear you.
Not what?
Yeah, of course.
Right.
But
no, I was looking at this, and what you said was absolutely accurate. I mean, I spent probably a month just painfully trying to come up with a good way to stream what they need to do. I mean, the only way this is ever has a chance to take off, I'm sorry, Amazon bought Twitch because it's YOLO swag. They know it. It's the future of esports gaming. They got it covered. I mean, that's what you wanted. Even their Android app is usable now. You know, I wanted to watch some people playing the Xenoverse thing that, you know, J-Man's had a chubby about for a month. And I was like, oh, that was easy. Look it up. Boom. And there's everyone playing it. They're going to have to release some hella slick tools and make it stupidly easy onto Linux and other platforms in order to even think about competing. This sounds a lot like
Google still
Me Too. We can do it. And we're like, Googs, you know, with the YouTubes is a good place to put the videos and get the likes and watch the Let's Plays, but not so much for the live, baby.
Yeah.
Google
I don't
are
know.
the ones
Google's
who
gonna have
still
to
haven't
really-
released a Linux client for the Google Drive. So what makes you think that they will be supporting Linux with whatever they call their live client?
Not even that. I mean, if you're going to try and dethrone Twitch, if you want people to move platforms, which is a huge pain in the ass for anyone involved, you're going to have to really provide some serious incentive. So what is Google going to do to differentiate its service? It's going to need some killer features or improved usability to actually get people to move over, and I don't think Google is going to ultimately provide it.
There's one thing. Have you actually watched a live YouTube stream and opened up the chat? It's live YouTube comments. It's
Oh,
horrible.
God.
It's
Oh,
good.
God. That's nightmare fuel.
It's
so
dead,
is
Jim.
this. This is a post-mortem of, you know, the goat stimulator.
Good stimulator, baby.
So the guys at Gamma Sutra went to had a little chat with the developers from the developers of Goat Simulator Coffee Stain Studios, and they said, "Well, what did you think you did well? What did you think you did poorly?" And what they thought they did poorly, and this is just brilliant. They said, "We lost a lot of sales because we did not launch on all platforms simultaneously. Were we to do this again, we would have a release primed for Mac, Windows, and Linux from the get-go."
You know, reading through that, I mean, they were thinking, this is going to be a little fuck around demo. A couple of people are going to do. They never meant for it even to be a game. And when it blew up, they really had their oh shit moment. And I think that's a lesson. I mean, they did say, to quote them correctly, would strongly recommend having a Mac and Linux port on day one. Yes, that's been said. And what J-Man said, direct quote, I think it lost us a big chunk of sales. And it did. How long did we have to wait? A month before we
A
got
couple, because they had to get Icklebutts to port it over, and he was busy with other shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Ben, from the after show last week, you had a lovely comment about time units involved with putting out cross-platform games. And we've been screaming this for years. You develop your product from the get-go to run on any platform, regardless of what it is. Porting and adding new platforms and getting those crucial sales will be all the more easier. And if you put out ports after the fact, you're really just losing sales.
Well, P-Man,
Yep.
riddle me this. I'm thinking, okay, let's say we're just at 1% of Steam, right? That
1.2.
1.2, and I'll just round it down to 1, and let's say just law of averages, 20% of that number would be what? About
200,000 people.
200,000 potential sales for an indie studio. Would not, you think that might cover making that port and getting it out there on time, maybe?
Assuming you started making the game as a cross-platform title, yeah.
Huh?
It would be profit at that point.
Oh, show.
That's broken.
But we need more money.
Yes, speaking of money, it's Broken Age, Act 2. The release date was officially
Gotta pause that video, Ben.
I just want to punch that guy right there already.
Punch him
Okay.
in the throat.
But yeah, Tim Schafer was talking to the guys at IGN, and he said, yeah, we're going to be releasing Broken Age Act 2 on April 28th, 2015. So if you were a backer of their Kickstarter, $3.5 million, or you already bought it on Steam, you already played through the first act, you will get this one for free. You don't need to pay it. But I'm guessing that there are a lot of people out there that were like, yeah, I'm just going to buy it when it's finished. So they're banking on those people to give them some more monies for the next game, hopefully.
Kind of surprised. You got to remember, Pedro, Elijah Woods are expensive, you know. Just saying.
You can hire a Ben Stone for a fraction of the cost.
I know, right?
Yes.
But no, I'm definitely going to say good guy Double Fine because they're finishing it. Glares at Space Base DF9. They are finishing it. They're going to wrap it up. And if you're on Kickstarter, even if you've already bought it on Steam, you'll still, I mean, if you buy it right now, you will still get the second part gratis. So I can't really hate on that, but you said you were a little tired of the pointies.
Oh, I mean, after Broken Age 1 and Grim Fandango, I am a little point and clicked out. I mean, I just don't have the nostalgia for it that other people do. I can get the appeal of it, but it doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, Nori is one of those people that's like, I'm just going to wait till it's out, then I'll buy it. So, yeah, that's one sale right there.
Mm-hmm. Of course, the all-important Nori sale. Coming up next, we show you our pillars of eternity.
Giggity.
Well, I finally have a good excuse to put on my robe and wizard hat. We're reviewing Pillars of Eternity, developed by Obsidian using the Unity engine. You can pick it up for 50 freaking wet stinky bucks or euros or wherever the hell you live, because that's how much they're going to charge you. But what is it? Prepare to be enchanted by a world in which the choices you make and the paths you choose shape your destiny. Obsidian Entertainment, the developer of Fallout New Vegas and South Park, thus Stick of Truth, together with Paradox Interactive, is proud to present Pillars of Eternity. That blurb basically tells you nothing, but it's Baldur's Gate. If you've played Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, Planescape Torment, you know exactly what the hell this game is. So let's kick this off with the Chairquisition. 1 chair means that it's crap. 2 chairs means that it's meh. 3 chairs means that it's pretty good. 4 chairs means that, oh my god, I can't stop coming. My god, your mother's a whore. And of course, we have our categories of doom mixed with the working, shiny sounds, controls, and fun. So let's kick this off. Then, can you show me your Pillar of Eternity?
Giggity. Brother Sfang, being a Unity game, let's just say I had my reservation organs about this. Also, with that price tag on Brad, wasn't really happy about that. But the audience is wondering, Vin, how did it run on the Ubuntu 1404? LTS, 980 powered, 4K displayed, box of business. I didn't have these FERPS issues that everyone else did. I put it on YOLO, and I'm getting a constant 60, except when it does, you know, the black screen to transition, and that was racist, to another set, it'll do the traditional no way around it Unity thing. Here's 1 FERPs per second. Fuck you, that's why. That's not enough to ding at a chair. That's just Unity, ladies and gentlemen. So, 4 chairs over here in Vinland. Sfang.
Well, I had the backer beta, so I knew this thing was going to run fine right off the bat. I mean, the backer beta started up. No issue. This game, exact same deal. On the Fedora 21 powered 64-bit AMD 1090Ti, NVIDIA 670 superclocked box of business. Yeah, ran perfectly smooth. Some frame rate inconsistencies. Sometimes if you're just like, if you go into a menu, oh, it'll drop to 35 frames a second. Back in Overworld, 60. It's fine. Nothing that big good deal. It's what you expect from a Unity game. So 4 chairs.
Yeah, very similar experience here on the Amiga, which is now overclocked at 4 gigahertz on the processor, which is an AMD FX 8370E, and with the NVIDIA GTX 970 Strix, it ran well enough. It was constantly at 60 FERPs, unless, of course, much like Jordan said, you open the inventory screen. Oh, look, 41 frames per second. Why? Fuck all idea. Close the inventory. Whoop, back up to 60. Alrighty then. As long as you're consistent. 4 chairs.
Alright, so that's 4 chairs for Mixed with Working. Shiny and Sounds is up next. Ben, were you wowed or were you blurred?
3.9 million wet, stinky caches. And we got this? Question mark? Seriously, I'm sorry, but your isometric graphics, everything's in 3D, looked like a fistful of meh for 3.9 million wet, stinky caches. Seriously, the Torchlight 2 character models looked better than this. How come only half the shite during the Choose Your Own Adventure game, which is also embedded in this, has voice acting? Sometimes they'll talk, and you're like, oh, that's great, and I can do other things, and squirrel around. Other times they're like, just silent. Very inconsistent with that. $3.9 million, again, ladies and gentlemen. And where is that epic soundtrack, Brad? It's just not there. What is there is bland. So it looks meh, and it sounds meh. And you really couldn't splooge on the extra voices for everyone? I don't see why not. I'm going to give you 2 chairs, because that is what you deserve.
I've always been of the opinion that Infinity Engine style games tend to age very gracefully. This is no exception. The backgrounds look good, and the character models are well done. It's a vast improvement from if you played Baldur's Gate, even the enhanced editions that were released under Linux. They didn't really look as good as this, so that is a nice touch. The voice acting is also pretty solid, although, like Ven, I am very, very miffed about how inconsistent it is. Sometimes you got voice acting, sometimes in the same conversation you will not have voice acting. And that I think is just kind of lazy. What the hell is up with that? The soundtrack, it was kind of
maybe it'll be DLC.
You know what? I put on some Blind Guardian because that's the kind of music I want to listen to when I'm slaying dragons. So no points for the OST, but still, for the game, for what it is, for this style of game, it looks great. It sounds great. I'll give it 3 chairs.
Yeah, first thing when I got in game, I'm like, look at all the 3D models and all the 2D backgrounds. And then, of course, there's the sounds. I mean, Justin Bell is trying very, very hard to be like Mark Morgan or Jeremy Soule, but he's failing miserably at it. The background music is nowhere near as good as Fallout 2's, which was made by Mark Morgan, or Icewind Dale's, which was Jeremy Soule. And even considering that, the nostalgia still kicked in the moment I saw the Baldur's Gate, the Icewind Dale style cursor. I'm like, yeah, I know this. And for what it is, in the 4 hours I've sunk into the game thus far, I can't really ding it more than 1 chair for all its problems, so 3 chairs.
All right, so that's 2 chairs for the shinny and the sounds. And now for the control, then.
Full disclosure, I've never really been a fan of isometric games like this. It was a product after my time. I was on Linux, and we didn't have a lot of them, and let's be fair. Going back and playing this on DOSBox, no, I lived through those times. I don't need to revisit them. My issue with the controls. It starts up. I'm like, okay, let's move the map around. Let's use WAS, and all this other shit popped up on that. I was like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? How do I do this? Like, oh, click. I shit you not. The middle mouse button on your gerbil. That didn't even exist when these type of games were the bee's knees. And I found it very unintuitive. And I was like, I'll change everything, but then I have to remap all this other shit. Then I went into a fit of rage and gave Hitler some Cheetos. It was brilliant. Outside of that, once you just accept your fate, that you're going to be controlling almost everything with your gerbil, it's not bad. But then you want to move, you can move the map, and scroll in, scroll out, but your left, right, up and down axes by coming over to your far right, far left, up and down on the screen. That's great, but not great when you're playing it at 4K resolution. That takes a lot of swing space, Brad. Wasn't a fan of that. But these two heathens are going to tell me that it's special sauce, and I should be grateful for this. But over here in Vinland, it gets 2 chairs.
Well, to speak to your point, back when the style of the game was a thing, the 3-button mice were things that you could buy for the PS2s and whatnot. So that kind of worked. Anyways, this is pretty much the same sort of control scheme you would expect from
honestly, a 3-button mouse would have made perfect sense.
Torment. But and I mean, yeah, you're basically going to be doing it all with the mouse, because the only interaction you're going to have with your keyboard is hitting escape to save constantly or hitting space to pause, and that's it. So beyond that, all the mouse controls,
open the inventory.
Perfect. Oh yeah, and inventory if you hit I or whatever, or C for the character screen. But
and
even
slowdown's like A or something, or as.
Yeah, no, I mean the WAS thing was a bit stupid, but I didn't really use it. I was just using my mouse the entire time, so no real issue with that. I would say this game controls exactly as intended, and I basically picked this up coming from the context of Baldur's Gate Icewind Dale. Started playing, no issue, so I'm gonna give it 4 chairs for that.
Yep, and back in the day, WASD wasn't really a thing. Most people would use the directional keys to move around, up, down, left, right. And that's how I learned to play Fallout 2, and that's how I played through Icewind Dale 1, and that's how I started playing Baldur's Gate back in the day. And this one, well, I felt right at home. Everything works as it's supposed to. You go looking for things and they're in a sensible place. You got the central HUD with everything. You can just click on it, or you can just push the keys on the keyboard for the appropriate screen. And it works. I can't really think of a chair for this one. 4 chairs.
All right, so that's 3 chairs for controls. And finally, our subjective category, Foon. Ven, did you enjoy yourself? Probably not, but go into detail.
Well, let me explain. I set for full-on straight. I know that's sexist. Playing this thing, thinking.
Homophobic, then. Homophobic.
For 44 wet, stinky caches, I'm going to find something to have fun with in this game. I didn't. I played as the barbarian elf, and after finding the quickest ways to bypass the endless character customization bullshit, we find ourselves in a wagon train. Everyone gets killed to death -2. They get noped. You kill a bear, and not the sexy kind. Hey, a town. Oh, fucking look, shite went south soon as I showed up. Mix that in with a metric fuck ton of dust. Just the dialogue that adds so... Wait, all right, I'm back. This is the type of game that I would bring with me if I was to be stuck on an island with a Naquita reactor plus a laptop and they didn't allow me to bring a flashlight. Seriously, I get it. It's customizable. And look at all the stats and the story. Oh my god, barbecue and... Like last week's game, if I'm on into it and nothing has happened that has made me care about it, don't expect me, Vin Stone, to soldier on, son. So, 2 chairs for the fun, begrudgingly, he said.
Yeah, this is your traditional CRPG, so if you were not a fan of this style of game, you're probably not going to enjoy it. That said, on normal, this game is fuck you hard. You will get killed to death a lot. Make no bones about it. Luck and planning will go a long way. You gotta make sure that your strategies are on point and that you keep your damn fingers crossed. Also, count on your casters running like headfirst, like, go cast a spell here. All right, I'm going to cast it right next to the enemy. Oh god, I'm dead. What did you do Why did you do this, master? Why? Yeah, you gotta save early save often. But it really does harken back to the old Infinity Engine games, and I'm having fun playing it. Yeah, Cairo Timus in chat realm basically sums it up very, very nicely. Normal equals fuck a blender. Yeah. No, you will die a lot. Pedro made it to level 3. I'm only at level 2. So the progression in this game can be pretty slow, but it is very much like playing a D&D game on your PC. It's not D&D though. It is its own system. I think the experience progression is the exact same as 3.5, which was like, huh, that's interesting. But beyond that, it is its own game. It has its own system. And so far I'm having fun. I'm gonna certainly keep playing it. So 3 chairs.
This game reminds me, the combat system is very similar to Neverwinter Nights, and the visual presentation is more along the lines of Temple of Elemental Evil. So yeah, it is totally D&D, except it's not. But they did, I guess those $3.9 million that they got from the Kickstarter went to lore, because there's a fuck mothering ton of lore in this game. People, whichever NPC you talk to, will start name dropping deities and wars and cities, and it's absolutely insane. Now, I will this is an Obsidian game, and I give Obsidian a lot of shit because after Neverwinter Nights 2, Knights of the Old Republic 2, Fallout New Vegas, they deserve a proper skull fucking. But this game is actually a step forward, kinda. It's kinda like they reached back in time to the days that they were still called Black Isle, and they simply made another game in that style. They're good with first-party titles. It's when it comes to picking up someone else's IP that they suck at. Yeah. But it is very much a fun game. I loved it. Like Jordan said, I got up to level 3. I'm playing a paladin, and I just unlocked the thing that makes my sword go on fire. So if I land a critical hit, it's like 60 damage.
That's
on
called
average.
syphilis.
It's amazing. I like it. It's very much my dice. 4 chairs.
One note about the lore thing. If you actually did back it on Kickstarter like I did, you got metric tons of emails going into depth explaining what all the lore is. That I kind of stopped reading about midway through. So there's that. The journal, if you go to the journal, it actually does give you a good breakdown so that you're not completely lost. You're just going to be semi-lost by the time the conversation is over. So that's 3 chairs for fun. Tally that all up, and we get a 3-chair game for Pillars of Eternity. Gentlemen, final thoughts.
I'm just going to close this business with, during our pre-show, before we get on the live streams and make with the entertainments, he says, ironically. If you would like to call what we do entertainment, is I hear these two heathens is like, oh, I can't kill the bear. And Jordan's like, I finally killed the bear. I noped that bear day 1 by myself. In your face, Oregon.
It took me 3 people to do it, but not 5 guys. Coming up next, your hate mail, where we talk about keyboards and Outland and love.
Boys and girls, it's the end of the show, but before we can wrap this all up, we need to get to your hate mail. And, as a quick reminder, like I usually do, if you'd like to get in touch with us, go to LinuxGameCast.com, push the contact button on the nav bar, fill out the form, fill out the CAPTCHA thing that Van's got going on there, and we'll be happy to feature your message, unless, of course, you're trying to promote a game or a Kickstarter, Indiegogo, Steam Greenlight campaign. Because if you are, make sure to, send us 3 keys.
Why would they have to send us 3 keys? We're just trying to play them, man. We just want 3 keys.
3 keys, we'll play your game. If you're currently going through Greenlight, just send us a tarball with your game on it. Send it to all 3 of us, or just a friend. You'll make sure to pass it around. And just something. The 3 of us, at the very least, need to be able to play your game. Otherwise, we will not talk about it. All right?
But how much for a rib?
Can you break this 100? All right. David, Mouse and Key Noob, I'll take this. Greetings. Love the show. I'm a recent convert to console. Hard stop there. Recent convert from consoles to PC gaming. Microsoft drove me from consoles, so I don't use those for gaming. So Ubuntu 8320 750 Ti, 8 gig controllers.
There's a bit of a bottleneck.
Problem is that I've never used the keyboard and gerbil. Love the gerbil for accuracy and FERPs, but I thought you said you never used it, Brad. Keyboard makes me move like a drunken. That's called Tuesday around LGC, son. I would like to use a Tartarus or Nostromo type board for my
the Nostromo
left-hand organ. Is there Linux support for these types of devices? Question marks. Thanks in advance for the Chairquisition. P-Man.
Yes. I actually went looking and I found a project called the J Nostromo, which actually supports the Razer Nostromo. And I thought, you know what? This was the last time this got updated was in February this year. So that's probably your best bet is the Razer Nostromo. But then Jordan actually dug a little deeper and found something else.
Yes, if you actually take the time to read the page, they actually tell you to switch over to Keyboard Master, which I believe we covered last week.
Yep.
Or Keyboarding Master rather. So they do provide the sources for that, so you can compile it. It should all work. They've tested it a bit. So if you have one of those one-handy keyboardy things, give that a whirl and see, and write back to us. Maybe it doesn't work and we just caused you to waste $50, in which case up next is Outland or Outhouse, and this is from Yule. He says, bought the game the other day after, and I was surprised how good it is. Pretty graphics, solid game mechanics. It's not guacamole, but it's definitely a very polished and well-executed game. Best of all, it runs on low-end specs, which really shows how well optimized it is. Yeah, shame that nothing really happens in this platformer action game after prolonged periods of gameplay.
In retrospect, it was last week at like 3 o'clock in the mothering morning. Me and J-Man's like, fuck it, let's do some let's play of it. And in multiplayer, it's fine if you got your mates with you and you're actually talking and doing all that. And I could see the appeal of it, but it's more...
That can salvage a lot of games, though, just because you're hanging out.
It can, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's just like shit to do while you're hanging out. P-Man, you got some thoughts on this?
Yeah, he was saying that, which really shows how well the game was optimized. No, all that shows is that the game was not made in Unity. And we're not about to argue that. Up next, we have some love mail. One of our Patreon backers, Verita Nuda, or The Naked Truth, says that I nailed it. Spot on with the pronunciation and translation. Props, Pedro. Winky face. Love your reviews and news and irreverent views. Keep it up, guys.
No!
Thank you.
Bad! Do not praise him! He'll get used to that, and then he'll start getting uppity, and we don't want that. You haven't seen what kind of damage a cocky Pedro can cause.
We don't need uppity brown people on the show, man.
And on that bombshell!
Cue the music, because you can always find us. Normally... around 9:30 live Eastern Moon Magic Time. But we're doing a special early show because Patreons. We love we love Europe, really love the UK, and that's like 75% of our traffic. God save the Queen and all that business. I'm Vin Stone. You can always find me at Vin Stone, cleverly disguised on the Twitterets, plus Vin Stone on the G Pluses. Jelly baby.
You can find myself, Mr. Jordan Swung, at the Burning Pool on Twitter or plus.
That took too much
plus on Jordan Swung. There you go.
He used all his power.
I am Bethlehem Matthews. You can find me at and accounted for on Twitter or plus Bethlehem Matthews on the Google Pluses.
And I personally find these kids cute.
Oh, fuck yourself.
Seriously, with our international audience, P-Man, how do you say my hovercraft is full of eels in Portuguese?
O meu hovercraft está cheio de enguias.
I'm just kidding, no one cares.
Well, I did it anyway.
I died in a fire.
5 dudes.